Hello, listeners. We wanted to provide a warning that the following episode contains discussion regarding self-harm, suicide, and suicidal ideation. Viewer and listener discretion is strongly advised. If you or someone you know is in emotional distress or suicidal crisis, call or text 988, the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. They provide 24-hour confidential support. Always call 911 in life-threatening situations. If you are worried about a friend's social media updates, contact the safety team at the social media company. And of course, feel free to DM us anytime, day or night, if you're feeling low. We are always here for you.
Who's going to start?
You start this time.
Intro episode 5?
Go for it.
Thanks for joining us. Ship to Shore Podcast, episode 5. I'm Corey.
My name is Hannah.
What an intro. Awesome.
Yeah.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
Oh my goodness. Yard sale yesterday was great. Thank y'all so much to
Yes,
everybody
thank
that came. And by the way, this is our 5th episode. Can you believe we've done
Cinco.
this 5 times now?
I can't. I'll be saying the
Or
same
have
thing at 10
we?
and 15.
Maybe we've done more.
Oh, yeah.
5th episode. Man, we're finally getting the hang of this thing, you know?
Yeah.
I think that was the biggest learning curve.
Well, everything is a learning curve. We have no idea what we're doing.
Like, we knew what to do. We just had to learn the programs,
Yeah.
and we're finally starting to learn them.
Hopefully every episode the audio gets a little bit better. We get better at editing it, making it sound more.
If we can remember to
like
actually record it, you know.
Oh
that'd
yeah,
be good.
episode 4 had some shoddy audio. Sorry about that. I did not record either of our tracks on the mic, so
We tried to make it sound best as we
spent
could.
hours on that thing. So hopefully it doesn't sound too bad. But if you listen to it, really appreciate it, because that was a really heavy, important episode to us.
I was gonna say, if you listen to it, you could probably understand why we weren't recording it. It was just hard, and we were glad to have it out of the way.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. That's the only episode that I felt like I needed time to get ready for to prepare to record that one, and we spent probably an hour talking before that. You know.
That's true.
That was cool. So thank you anyone to listen and give us feedback on it.
Man,
we really appreciate
thank you guys so much. I was trying to think of some things that people have told us so far. So I've heard so far that your voice was unexpected.
I guess that's a compliment. Thanks.
I've always said you
I
had
don't know what people expect.
You've got like a radio announcer voice. It's so deep. It is,
Thank you.
shocking for, it's sexy.
Well, oh, thanks.
It
Yeah,
is.
easy now. We just started.
Okay, now. What are some comments you've heard?
I've heard the same things about you from people that I know from work who don't get to interact with you too much, that you sound different from what they thought, probably more country than they expected. But what is else to be expected from either of us who live down here from here?
Ain't it a shame?
Ain't it?
I spent a lot of years of my life trying to pronunciate my words and talk like I was from a general area of the United States, and then I can start that way, but as I go further into talking, and then I just start using my normal voice, and man, before you know it,
it seems the angrier that I get, the more country I get.
You sound like Squidbillies.
Don't touch the train.
It is what it is,
Yeah.
I'm proud of my upbringing. I'm proud of my roots. I hate my country accent, but it is what it is.
I love it.
I hate it.
In case you anytime I want.
Oh, Pearl. I've considered
yeah.
doing a kid's YouTube character called Pearl.
Pearl's great.
And she's just a little old lady.
Pearl cracks me up. I can't listen to that.
Shaky voice. And she
Pearl's
just
my favorite.
Sings songs to the children and old hymns. Coming soon. No, I don't know that I'm really doing that. We were just joking about it. Okay. Also,
are you for it?
We have an idea. We're
Go
going to
ahead.
have a contest. We're trying to get lots of people on board this ship as we set sail.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm aboard.
so
Tell your friends.
that's right. We're gonna have a social media contest that will probably start within the next week or so. Just be watching social media, and we'll have announcements there, and then maybe last through like the end of May,
Yeah.
I think.
I say the last day of May be the last day of the contest.
And then the details of the contest will be on social media, and we will randomly select a winner if you do all of the things that you have to do to enter the contest. And then we know for sure that one of the prizes is going to be a piece of custom artwork by me.
Yes.
Um,
Are you gonna
it'll
let them
be an
pick,
awesome
or
one.
are you gonna pick?
I will pick it and I will display it
Okay.
sometime in the next few episodes.
Ah, that's a good idea. Okay, I like that.
As we get closer to the end of the contest, I'll show you which one
We
it'll
might
be.
throw something else in there with the art. We haven't decided yet.
If you have a local business and you want to contribute, we'll give you a shout out.
Hey, that's a great idea.
Maybe what, like 5 episodes of a sponsorship
Yeah.
in exchange for a $50 gift card. Thanks. So
this episode brought to you by Craig's Small Engine Repair. That's what it's gonna be.
oh my gosh. Man, okay, what are some sponsors we could give out? Blue Water Vinyl and
Shout
gifts.
out. Okay.
Aunt
All
Ruth.
right.
Hey Aunt Ruth, we love you.
Yeah, thanks
She's
for
been
the
listening
support.
to all our episodes.
She's so sweet.
She's the best ever. Like, and the best host. We went to her house for Easter and had the best time. Best Easter in a long time.
I think she really enjoys hosting.
She's so good
But
at
I think
it.
they're mad that we kicked them out of the grown-ups room this time because we've outnumbered them. Made them all sit at the kids' table. Yeah, it was pretty awkward.
She used to, and then it was like, I don't know, it just felt wrong. By the time I was done eating,
some animosity coming from that kitchen.
Yeah. Felt like, I don't know. There's and what is the phrase? There's a new something in town.
There's a new sheriff in town?
New, not
I
sheriff.
wouldn't say that to Phil, ever.
There's a new, I'm just going to let it go because I can't think of anything that sounds cool. But thank you, Ruth and Phil. Y'all are always the best hosts, and we always have such a good time. And
always.
I mean, Easter's awesome, but like Easter's definitely not even one of my top 3 favorite holidays.
But anytime that all of the children can get together under the same roof, they're never under the roof. They're always outside running around. But that's always a good time because, especially since Shepard's not at the preschool anymore, he's in the public school system now, so he doesn't see his other cousins. So he just runs around with them, gets drugged behind the Jeep in the yard.
Well, a thought I had when we were at Ruth's on Sunday is that as the years pass by, it's like one more kid comes inside to sit with the grown-ups, because they're like old, they're moving up, like leveling up. And so there weren't that many. I noticed that there was like, 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5. Gosh. And it used to be like,
we're so blessed to have so many of us though. Like it's always, anytime that it's like, hey, the family's getting together, there's like 20 of us, 25, like always.
That's true.
That's really awesome.
We have great relationships with both sides of our family. I've always been thankful for that.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people can't say that about their spouse.
Yeah. Well, and so many people to love on our kids. I mean, my goodness, I don't
think we've ever had any real issues with anybody on either side of the family that I can speak of.
Y'all are awesome.
For now. Nothing, though. Yeah.
For now.
We might have just.
We'll see how Mellow Mushroom goes tonight.
Oh, yeah. Whoops, I forgot.
That's going to be so dated by the time this airs. But anyway, maybe we'll cut it out. We'll see.
Do you want to hit this update here? Are we going to do that?
Yeah. So.
Dun-dun-dun. What are we doing? Which
one? I'm going to do. Wait, let me pick it. I'm going to do. It's time for a Love is Blind update. That's a good one.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
This is how I feel every time. Every time Zach comes on screen, I want to go. Stop talking. Oh my God!
This is what
this
I
is going to
do.
Be the rest of the episode.
This is what I do every time Zach comes on screen.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Oh my God!
All right, Zach and Bliss, they, get back together, whatever. It's obvious from the first time that they met back up, she doesn't think he's attractive, whatever. I mean, we're just good at reading people, and I can see straight through people's bullshit.
Maybe we're wrong. Maybe, but I don't know, man.
Because the weddings are like started. The past episodes that we watched anyway. The finale's coming, but the past episodes we watched it showed Zach and Bliss like on their wedding day, and on the wedding day they go to the altar and they have to then tell their spouse if they're going to, yes, I want to stay married to you, I love you, or no, I think we should go our separate ways. So I don't know, I'm just getting all kinds of vibes like Bliss is gonna be like, skirt, no.
Well, in one of the clips, it just shows her dad walking her down the aisle. On the way down, he's like, "You don't have to do this. You don't have to do this."
Oh my gosh, her dad was
so much. He's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "What? You've known him for 20 days."
Man, I don't know though. She was just like, you could tell that the way her dad was acting, because her dad was a total douche,
Yeah.
and obviously for the screen.
Yeah.
But you could tell it upset her, but like I would have definitely had more confrontation than that if it was my family,
if they were being that blatantly rude. Yeah. Especially on camera, like you're representing me here too. Like you're like, now everyone knows that this is what I grew up with, probably, because they see you acting that
don't
way.
embarrass me, because that they're going to edit it so that national TV it looks like you're just a jerk dad and poor pitiful me. And
I have to always take everything that I see in these shows with a grain of salt, I guess, because they can edit it to make it look like literally anything happened.
And there's no telling with AI now, like what they can get them to say.
Yo, that is scary.
Yeah. Anything.
Holy crap. I saw someone who had an app where you could make Snoop Dogg say anything you wanted if you just like pointed your phone at it. So they had him reading the Bible and he was reading Genesis 1:1, and it was the coolest thing. But it's terrifying.
There is also an app where he reads the whole Bible.
Oh, well, maybe that's what I saw.
Maybe that's AI generated, but no, on that post though, if it comes up again, look at just the comments.
Okay. Oh no.
People do not like Snoop Dogg reading the Bible.
Whatever. Why can't he?
Isn't that the whole Bible reading I've ever heard?
But isn't that the whole point? Like, we should be reaching more people. Isn't that what you're supposed? I don't know. I have no comment. Whatever.
True. Well, so let's see. That's Zach and Bliss, and then Jackie and Marshall. They had a whole thing.
Bro, she didn't even show up to the fitting.
She didn't show up to her dress fitting. They obviously had a huge falling out because she kissed and was flirting and talking to the guy that she had also liked in the pods that showed up at some party get-together thing they had.
And they set that up on purpose. They did.
Yes, and I just want to, that's why I'm anxious to get to the reunion or like after the altar or whatever, because I want to hear from her what happened, because
and it's live, so who knows?
Oh gosh.
Anything can happen.
I just want to know. I just want to know, like, if she's truly just got major issues, maybe personally and also with her family, or if they played her to make it look like that. Because to me, Marshall looks like he's done killed about 8 or 9 people, and they're buried all across the country.
Poor Marshall. Oh, man. Them eyes get me.
He's like, all right. Like, anything he says, he just keeps the same eyes.
He just didn't want to accept it, man. But, like, maybe she does have something going on, but I think the very last frame that it has her in says a lot, because she said at the very end, she was like, maybe I've got some work to do. Maybe I need to look inward. And I think maybe a lot of people should have that realization. And maybe there's, hopefully nobody gets hurt, but you should probably have yourself figured out.
Well, I agree. And I mean, I just appreciate people that can be honest with themselves and with others and just be like, yeah, I got some stuff I got to work on.
Which we all do. Everyone does.
Well, and for me, I feel like I have so much more respect for people that can just say that instead of trying to beat around the bush or have to try to look like they've got all their shit together. Yeah. Like, none of us know what the fuck we're doing. So it's fine.
Well, it's pretty telling anyway. If someone refuses to look inward at themselves for any resolution, if it's always somebody else's fault, if somebody else is the problem, somebody else did this and that's why I did this, then that's a big sign of your personality and what's probably wrong with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're so right about
Yeah,
that.
you've got to be able to be humble and say, "Oh shit, yeah, I'm messing this up. This way that I've been is wrong." Even if you've been that way your whole life, it doesn't mean that you're right because you've been that way forever. You're probably taught wrong because who taught you wrong was taught wrong. Who was taught wrong? Who was taught wrong?
You can't blame like stubbornness and like your choice to choose being stubborn and just say that's just the way I was raised. I've been stubborn my whole life. Okay, don't be anymore.
That's just me. I'm just outspoken. I'll just get in your face. That's just who I am. Well, maybe don't.
Yeah.
Maybe back up.
Maybe just think before you speak. And then
maybe
that
other
would
people
resolve everything. And I mean, look, we're talking like we don't ever make mistakes.
We're talking to ourselves.
I'm talking straight to myself.
Yeah, I'm the first one who has to stop myself from yelling at people in traffic because I don't know them or their story or what's going on. So who am I to say bad things about you?
Dude. And you can't play anymore.
I think I've gotten better about my road rage. I've gotten a lot better. You think? You're hesitant? Oh, no.
It really depends on what headspace you're in. Like, if you're already in a good mood and having a good day, you're still probably going to honk a little bit or say something, but you're going to let it go.
Even if I'm having a good day?
It's all right. Everything's okay. You'll pat my leg. But if anything is not going according to plan, or if you are upset about something, whatever, it's a different scenario.
It kind of sets me off.
Yeah, I have to be like, the kids are in the back. They're watching everything you do.
Yeah, you're right.
Because there's even a couple times where Sawyer's been like, he's just like watching traffic while we're driving and somebody does something weird. He's like, what is he thinking? And I'm like.
And you've never done that in front of him either? I think that's coming from both of us. I think I'm just more loud about it.
So I'm like, sorry. Don't mind me. I don't have road rage. Just road embarrassment.
It's true.
I'm just constantly like.
That's so funny.
Did anybody see that?
Yes, they did.
So I'm just making sure you're awake.
Oh, man.
Okay, so we need to get back to our story.
Let's get into it. Where were we?
I don't know, but I kind of want to use another sound effect. Let's see. I can't remember what one of them sounds like.
Yes!
I hope these are recorded.
What if they're not? If they're not,
it's gonna
be even better.
We have to go back in and add them.
I'm gonna do this one.
All right. Oh no, what happened? Okay, here we go.
Okay, so we stopped.
Things were heavy.
Episode 4. We had a heavy episode. We talked through the first really, really hard moment in our marriage, like the hardest to that point.
Yeah, our separation, my infidelity, us coming back together, me moving back in. Right, probably a few weeks before Christmas.
Yeah.
Right.
And you moving back in, we had touched on it a little last episode, but we just were still working through a lot. There was little trust between you and I, but we were being cordial and as friendly and positive as we could be, but it was just hard. I think we were struggling emotionally, mentally, about that situation.
Yeah.
But aside from that, I feel like we had our own stuff also kind of going on that we weren't sharing.
Oh, yeah.
We had
100%.
no communication.
Yeah. Yeah, we weren't talking about anything still. Well, not about the real issues. Once we got settled back in and back into our routine, it was just like, okay, survival mode. And that was kind of our mode for a long, long time.
Yeah.
Was just survive. Knock the pins down as they come up and just keep trucking, because we have responsibilities, we have a mouth to feed, we have full-time jobs, and we're trying to make this marriage work. after the hardest thing either of us had gone through to that point in our lives.
Yeah.
So without resolving any real trust issues or communication issues or our mental health struggles,
Mm-hmm.
mine probably just not even acknowledged, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and yours really just swept under the rug and kept to yourself. You really stayed inside your head, or talked to your friends about it, and not me. And we just kind of stayed that course for a while.
Yeah. I wanted to take a second to let our listeners and watchers know that I provided at the beginning of this video, and for the listeners, you're hearing it now, that this episode is going to contain discussions that involve poor mental health, suicidal thoughts and ideations, self harm. So, viewer discretion is advised. And for some people that struggle with their mental health, it helps them to hear other people talk about it. And I'm sure for
Yeah.
other people, it's too much. And
Yeah.
so we just wanted to let everybody know that before we continue. But
Yeah.
yes, mental health was at a rapid decline, especially for me.
Mhm.
It was the beginning of 2015 when I decided I wanted to go and find a psychiatrist and a mental health professional of some kind. I didn't really know what I was looking for, but I just was so coming out of what we had gone through.
Yeah.
I felt so. mm,
Yeah.
It was just so hard, and it just felt so. I could feel that I had been spiraling down, and that it was just like faster and faster
Yeah.
and faster. And I didn't know if I needed medication or if I was looking for a therapist, somebody to talk to.
Yeah.
We had discussed marriage counseling.
Yeah. And I think we went to 1 or 2 sessions then, and kind of learned some things about each other that gave us enough tools at the time to get by and to kind of give us this false feeling of, okay, we've got it figured out. Okay,
Mhm.
this is just going to be our answer. And you were already struggling and spiraling before anything had happened, and then everything did happen. I came back in and we're trying to put all this together. It's really another whirlwind, and you're seeking out help.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't remember what the first medicine was they put you on at the
So,
time.
a refresher in case there are listeners, watchers that are just starting our story. I knew from the time that I was probably 6 or 7 years old that my brain was something was wrong with it. Uh, I'll go more into this at a
Yeah.
later date, but I just knew that I felt sad all the time.
Yeah.
I had severe anxiety, some severe OCD tendencies and things that not a lot of people knew about. And I just never, it wasn't really talked about in the 90s. Kids weren't, I don't know that parents were actively seeking therapists for their children.
No, it was really just like ADD and ADHD. They're just throwing Ritalin and Adderall at kids, kind of just starting out back then.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was always, my anxiety has always presented itself in sort of like the overachiever kind of way.
Mhm.
Like I'm a perfectionist and just like do way too
Because
much.
that's what you have control over at
Right.
that time.
So, dealing with my mental health struggles on and off my whole life, just cycles of manic depression, anxiety, severe panic, and phobias, and just all kinds of things. And so I had already tried some types of medication, but I was interested to try something different. I never took anything after I had Sawyer. Maybe I did take one thing, but not for long for the postpartum.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I got in with a psychiatrist. I started seeing them, and they put me on an SSRI, which is a serotonin reuptake inhibitor.
Yeah.
And that just started a really long time of
Yeah.
experimenting with medication.
And that's really what it was. They just experimented. They didn't
Yeah.
really ask you a lot.
It
Or they
was
just
like the doctor was not what I needed, and he was just he wasn't interested in getting to the bottom of what was wrong and the thoughts that were in my head. He just wanted to, okay, you're a depressed housewife, whatever, like here's an
yeah.
antidepressant, and that was the extent of our
And that
conversation.
didn't really change through a few doctors.
Yeah.
It happens a lot.
Yeah, I've seen doctors in Birmingham, I've seen doctors here, and I've had, gosh, probably upwards of 10 to 20 different
Yeah.
mental health doctors, and at least half of them, that was their go-to, was just to give me medication. Some of the medications worked really well for me, but for me, weight gain was often a side effect, and that would make me even more depressed when I gained weight, so those didn't work. I tried some that just made me feel nothing, and I would disassociate a lot, like feel like I was
Yeah.
watching myself carry out my days from outside my body. And at that time, that felt better than what
Yeah.
was the, alternative.
Man.
Um,
All all the while you're like trying to mask that from everybody.
Trying to
From
keep it
me, from your
hidden.
parents, from people at work, and you're still working at Plato's then. So you're
Mhm.
still managing like a multi-million-dollar store,
Mhm.
every aspect of it. That anxiety, that pressure, being a new mom, trying to keep your marriage together, like just an array of different medications back to back,
Mhm.
and that's just over the course of the months from, December, January through the summer.
Mhm.
Not very
Yeah,
long at all.
I think my problem was I didn't finding the right professional that's your fit, I think, is probably the most important step you can take in your mental health care. And I
Well, finding
only,
somebody that gives a shit, that cares about what's
yes,
going on, not just like throwing something at a problem and just seeing if it works. Like, hey, what's going on?
right.
How are you feeling? Why do you feel this way?
And from experience, I've found that if a mental health professional has a very immediate opening, they're probably not awesome.
That's a good
Um,
point.
if they're, if they're like, I don't have any appointments for a month, I would recommend maybe sticking it out if you can wait, because it was so worth it to me to find those few professionals that cared about who I was and why I was there. Like what brought you in? Like so few doctors asked me that. Like what made you call us?
Hmm.
Are you sad? Are you mad? It was just like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just um I was super unsatisfied with the care that I received at the beginning of that year. And because I didn't have professionals helping me that were interested in truly helping me, they were just pushing medications on me. It was just months and months and months of starting a new medication, getting through the terrible, awful side effects,
Hmm.
the vomiting, the constant nausea,
Eye
the
shaking and
eye twitching, and the involuntary body movements, and
gosh,
then once realizing that they have that negative side effect on me, then having to wean your body back off of it and get it out of your system over 6 to 8 weeks. You can try another one.
yeah,
And I was frustrated.
yeah.
I was just,
And it wasn't just one at a time either, was it? It was like multiple medications. They were
yeah,
like mix and matching.
yeah. I've been diagnosed with many different uh, clinical diagnoses, I guess you could say, but um, I'm not sure even which ones I even know or feel to be accurate anymore. I just
Yeah.
know that I struggle. My brain chemicals are imbalanced. I can feel it physically.
Mhm.
Uh, I think a lot of people can that
Yeah.
struggle with their mental health. But anyway, it was months and months of just experimentation and feeling completely hopeless and feeling,
Probably alone.
I was so, so lonely. Um, and trying to spread myself so thin because again, with the anxiety, I've always been the overdoer. with anxiety.
Yeah.
But during that time, there was a lot going on with my job. A lot was on the line, and I felt tremendous stress and weight and pressure there at home with us.
Yeah.
I started having severe panic attacks. I've had panic attacks in my life, but never like I started experiencing in
Like we
2015.
would take you to the hospital because we thought you were for sure dying. Like we thought something's really, really wrong.
Panic attack sufferers know exactly what I mean when I say that it feels like you are dying, and it's so hard to convince yourself that you're not.
Yeah.
And I can feel myself moving into a panic attack when I can't undo that thought from my brain, like, you're okay. There's nothing wrong with you.
Yeah.
You're overwhelmed. You need to go somewhere quiet, take a few deep breaths. But the second that I'm like, I'm gonna die, I can't breathe, and then
Yeah.
it's just like,
Well, and then there are actual physiological things that happen to you when that's going on. Your heart rate's increased, you have fever, like you're like trembling, you have just like it was terrifying to see. Like I can remember one time in particular, like your hands started to like curl up.
my face.
Yeah, and your face was going in a way, and I thought you were starting to have a stroke,
Mhm.
and I was panicked with little baby Sawyer in the back seat. We're
Yeah.
just booking it to the hospital.
That was the first, that one, that,
Uh-oh.
whoopsie, that one that you are referencing was the first one that I had as severe as
Yeah.
that. And it started, I'll never forget it. I just gotten home from work. Sawyer was running up to greet me. You were walking around, whatever. I hadn't eaten all day. And in fact, I hadn't eaten much that whole week, which was
Self-care is so important.
part of the problem. But I'd been so busy at work, and I just had not taken that time, thinking that I would be fine. And then I sat on the couch, and I can't remember what thought triggered me, but I just remember feeling like all the walls were closing in on me. And I started just adjusting and feeling like, man, I feel like I'm breathing through a straw. And then that just
Yep.
spun me out. It was like I went from feeling like I could breathe through a straw to I felt my heart start to race, and I immediately was like, you're dying. You're having a
Yeah.
heart attack. Something's wrong with you. And at that point, I think I called out for you. I was
Yeah.
like, Corey,
Yep.
oh man,
I remember. Yeah.
it gets me anxious even thinking about it, because I was so terrified.
Yeah.
I legitimately thought I was dying or
Yeah,
having
so
a
did I.
stroke,
For sure.
because what happened was, how they explained it to me is whenever you start to hyperventilate, when you're panicking, having these
Mhm.
panic attacks, I guess you're not getting the oxygen you need
Yeah.
or something, and so it starts to make your muscles draw up like this. And so by the time we rushed to the hospital, but by the time we got there, like both my hands were like this, my face, it
Yep.
was all drawn to the
Yeah.
side like I'd had
They
a
took us
stroke.
straight through
I
to a
couldn't
room.
breathe. I was just like shaking all over, and it was, I remember them hearing a nurse whisper, uh, EKG or something, and they said, I think it's just a panic attack, and like whispered it. And I thought in my head, like, surely that's not what this is. Like, I'm dying. I
Yeah.
feel it, I can't breathe. Like, there's something
Yeah.
wrong. But no, that's exactly what it was. It was a terrible panic attack. And I was also, my electrolytes were a little off because had not eaten properly and drank enough water. So they gave me like a shot of potassium, I guess, to help with
Yeah.
the muscular stuff. But
Gosh. Man, I just noticed I was like rubbing I could put myself right back into that feeling. I mean, luckily we're so far past that, now, but that was such a scary time and just feeling so uncertain about everything, which is probably part of the reason what would send you into those spells is the uncertainty of everything about our life at that point.
that, and just feeling like I was totally overwhelmed, and so overwhelmed, like past the point of no return. Like
Yeah.
I was past just putting out the hottest fires. It was like, like
Yeah.
I'm literally a million different places, a million different pieces of me are right now, and I don't I don't know how to bring it all back together.
Yeah.
And
And
but
we
that
have a almost 2-year-old.
Yes. And Sawyer was, he was the best toddler,
Oh,
but
man.
he was just he's
He's
been
wild and crazy. He has been his
hyper
entire life.
since he came out the
Yeah.
womb, straight
So
out of the womb, hyper.
so we would both, go to these high stress jobs every single day, come home, sort of, tiptoe around each other and try and I was trying to convince you how in it I was and how committed and how, all about you I am. And I could see that something wasn't right, something was wrong, and like it just wasn't getting through, like you were hearing me, but you weren't hearing me. It was, like you were tolerating me kind of at the time.
During that
Rightly so,
time,
considering,
yeah. Well, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
No.
during that time, I was scared shitless.
Yeah.
I started after that one panic attack. It seems like they started happening every other day. They would hit me out of nowhere. I would be in the middle of work and feel like myself start not being able to breathe and have to like find an escape route. I called you to pick me up a
Yep.
couple times when I was just like thought I was gonna have to go to the hospital again.
Oh, yeah.
A couple times I did.
Yeah, absolutely. 2 or 3 times we took you up there.
It was just I was so afraid because I was like, what is happening to me? I'm deteriorating. I don't feel like myself. I don't even feel like I'm carrying out days. I feel like I just exist.
Yeah. That's a real feeling.
I
Yeah.
feel like I just exist in this plane of nothingness, and I'm
Everything's
just
kind of like
checking.
it's like blurry background to everything. It's like
Yeah,
you're just kind of yeah, it's really, really
like everything's mumbly like
yes,
that. It's like
yes.
I wasn't
And
hearing and listening and being able to see. It was the weirdest
yeah.
feeling.
And anyone who has never experienced that feeling just doesn't get it. They don't understand that it just like everything is dulled and just like even everything that you feel feels muffled and muddy and just not real.
Yeah,
And like all the sharp edges are gone off of everything. It's just rounded, smooth out,
yeah.
not vibrant, you know?
Because it's not only do you feel so just desperate to enjoy anything,
Yeah.
food, family, time by yourself, but you lose interest in absolutely everything.
Mhm.
I mean, you just can't find joy in one single thing. All of the hobbies that used
Yeah.
to love, you can't even think about. Um, Something that always becomes present when I feel myself sort of cycling into depression is you lose all care for yourself, like caring for yourself
Mhm.
physically,
Yeah.
showering, eating or overeating,
Yeah.
um, and just you start to just feel like you're disappearing.
Definitely. Yeah, just desperate for anything. It's awful. And then you're like you said, you're so desperate to enjoy these things and you're desperate to find this, and you take that desperation to a medical professional who's supposed to help you, and they're just throwing medicine at you, seeing if it sticks. This isn't working, try this. Let's combine this and that. Well, this and that, and they're just messing people up. And it messed you up for a long, long time.
It stinks because I totally understand that there's a process that they have to carry out in order to determine. There are a lot of people out there that cannot get up in the morning without these medications. And I'm so thankful that the people that need them and that benefit from them are able to use them. But I felt like for me, it was just constantly either changing a medication or just adding to the dose,
Mhm.
upping it, upping it, upping it. And I just felt completely discouraged. And um, man,
And that led to ultimately,
I remember driving in the car during that time and I started having these like crazy, like daydream type things where I would be driving and I would just like fantasize about like turning the wheel off down a ravine,
Yeah.
Like in my mind, the whole thing plays out. Like I can feel the car rolling and like all the trees and everything around. And then I would snap back to it and realize that I had been holding my breath the whole time, and I would breathe, you know. And those thoughts began to obsess me. And then it turned into, when I woke up in the mornings, just being like, I can't even get out of the bed today. And then just accepting that and letting myself sink into that. And I got to the lowest point I've ever been during that time. I felt like I wasn't able to be. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. It's all right.
I wasn't able to be the wife that you wanted. You just moved past that. And I didn't feel deserving of Sawyer because he was so awesome.
Yeah.
And what was I able to give him at that time? Nothing. And I hope to God he has no memories of me in that time. But I started to just wish that I could just stop feeling anymore. It just hurt. The pain was so physically intense.
It overtook you. It's okay. This is real. Yeah. And this is exactly how you felt.
And this is exactly why I'm so passionate about this, is because it's an awful, awful way to feel.
And nobody deserves to feel that way.
Yeah.
And no one deserves to go through that alone, or to have to do that, or to feel like they're alone. And, I'm so thankful for where we are right now.
Yeah.
I hate that any of this ever happened. I hate that you ever had to feel that way, and especially feel like you had to do it alone, under the same roof with me, but so separated from me emotionally, because you felt like you couldn't show me that. Everything that had happened, everything that we were trying to move past, we had such we were full of insecurity about ourselves and about our relationship and about what we could do for each other, and we just never fucking talked about it. And I don't know why. It probably the immaturity of it, not knowing and not wanting to face it, I don't know, but I'm so sorry that I never saw any of that until it was too late, and until it was past the point of me being able to be there for you. And I wish, and maybe if I'd gotten my shit together sooner, you wouldn't have had to deal with that, But it is what it was, and we got to that point, and it was really scary for me seeing you like that and feeling so helpless. I just felt like there was nothing that I could do for you, and because there wasn't.
There really wasn't. And, you know, after enough weeks and months of having those thoughts, you're not even yourself anymore. And I was ready to die.
Yeah.
It's real. It's a really hard thing to talk about because when you're in that place and you just really could care less either way, that's the scariest place to be, because you start to. I got to a point where I didn't care about us anymore because I was like, well, it's not going to matter soon anyway,
Yeah.
Um,
The indifference is so scary.
yeah,
I think that's when you realize that you really needed help,
yeah.
and you started reaching like.
Well, I started. I had I had let myself be overtaken with these thoughts, and I had decided that I didn't want to live anymore, and that I felt like that was the only way, because I just felt like I was never going to win this war of mental health,
and that I was just tired of hurting. I just wanted to not feel it anymore. So I stopped taking all my meds, cold turkey, which was bad.
That's never a
Don't
good idea.
ever do that. But I didn't care, and I had a bottle of it was an anti-anxiety medicine. I
It's
think it was
Klonopin.
Klonopin, and honestly, it's all so blurry to me what happened that night. But I swallowed a lot of them.
Yeah.
I don't think I wanted to die. I think I was just crying out to help. I was desperate for somebody to help me. I didn't know how to say that. I didn't know. I had never been that low in my life, I had never had such real suicidal plans and thoughts, and whew, sorry.
It's all right.
So the next morning,
Well, I came home and found you like that.
yeah,
I didn't know what you had taken.
yeah,
You couldn't really tell me because of the state you were in, you know. But that that was when I knew that something had to happen, something really desperate. Um, and because I didn't know what you had taken, and I just knew that it was definitely a suicidal gesture. Uh, I like I'm not sure where I started, but I just started hiding things all over the house. Anything that I thought could be harmful to you, anything that had a sharp corner, that had a sharp edge, that could hurt you if you drank it or if you splashed it in your eyes. I just either dumped it down the drain or threw it away, all of it, because I like not here, not while I'm here. No fucking way. It's not happening. I can't. You know, and because I knew that what you had taken, I didn't, I didn't, I didn't know if it was going to kill you that night. I just watched you like all night, you know, just as, and when I saw that you were just sleeping, that's when I started hiding shit. And I was like, this isn't ever going to be an option ever again. Um, I don't remember falling asleep. I remember waking up in the chair next to the couch, um, and you were still asleep.
mhm,
But mm, but the rest of that day is really, really blurry for me.
yeah. I also wanted to mention while we're talking about this that um, there was one thing that resonated with me during that time of the suicidal state that I was in, train of thought, whatever you want to call it. And there was a day that I was especially wanting to be numb. I didn't want to feel it anymore. I had not showed up to work, and I didn't even bother calling. I just didn't even go up there. And um, I had made goodbye video of sorts. And I got your gun out, and I was trying to figure out how to work it. Didn't know how to work it. And I had a person that I had not spoken to in many years, or several years, out of the blue, as I was trying to figure out how to put that gun together. They texted me and said something along the lines of, I just wanted you to know I love you.
I think that person knows who they are at this point.
But oh,
You know we love you.
when I tell you that that saved my life that day,
It's okay.
always text your people. if you're hesitant to because you're
Oh,
like, we're
for
out of
sure.
touch or whatever,
Yeah.
don't
Ever stop yourself from making that call or sending that
do
text to
it.
somebody because you don't know what it's going to mean, like, at any point, you know?
I shared this with this friend, after the fact. And I'll forever be grateful for that because I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I thank you too.
I love you.
Nobody else here.
Um, so that next morning after I'd taken the pills, I woke up and I want to say you insisted we go to my parents' house and talk to them about what was going on and that I needed help.
Yeah. And this was only, 5, 6 months removed from us reconciling, and they, wasn't sure if I was the person that they could trust, maybe, but
Mhm.
I think they saw the realness in me and like how scared I was for you and how much I cared about you, and that I just wanted you to be okay, like whether that meant that you were okay with me or without me, like I just wanted you to be better and happy and feel like you deserved everything that I know that you deserve. And so I think that they saw that and they said, okay, well then we're gonna do what we need to do to get her some help. And that was what
Well, thank you so
summer.
much. Thank you so much for all that you did for me during that time and helping me figure it out. Because we were going into our busiest season of the year at work, and I knew that I was afraid if I had to take time off, I didn't know what that would mean, if I would be punished or fired or whatever. And uh, it was such a serious situation that you were just like, no, fuck that.
Yeah.
Like, fuck
Yeah.
that job,
Yeah, I said I'll call him. Let me make the call.
And
I
so
got
you
this.
called and talked to
Yeah,
him, didn't
I
you? The
sure did.
owner, explained what was going on, and then you took me to a hospital that has a psychiatric facility here
Mhm.
in Tuscaloosa, and uh, that was
That
scary.
was really scary because after a certain point in the process, they like made me leave. They made me leave for you to finish the rest of your intake, which is the right thing to do, obviously, because you never know what anyone's situation is.
Right.
They didn't know if I was like beating you or something or I was abusive. They need to separate us, but that was horrifying because then I was just like, shit. Now what? Now, like, I'm literally not going to see her again, for 3 days unless I can come up here and visit her if they'll let me see her, if she wants to see me, when I come up here.
Hmm.
Um, and I just had to leave you on your own with
Hmm.
in the hands of these people.
Yeah. It was so scary because it's exactly what you think. They
Yeah.
strip you down, they take all your stuff from you, they put you in clothes that don't have any strings, no metal. They put you on a cot that's dirty and with a blanket, and you lay there for hours until they have a spot for you. And then it's like a psychiatric facility. I mean, I'm not going to go into detail about the trip during this conversation. I might talk about it another day,
Yeah.
about what all that stay entailed. But I was there for how long?
You were there for 3 days,
3 days?
72 hours.
Okay.
On the third day, I came to get you.
Um, so they pretty much, you know, reevaluated what medications I was taking. They put me on super heavy medication
Yeah.
that I had terrible side effects with. That was the involuntary body movements, antipsychotic medications. Like, they make my body do weird things, and I couldn't explain it to the doctor. I was like, my eyes are like, when I want to just scroll them to the side, it's like they're glitching like this.
I can't imagine what that's like. That
It
seems
was
so
weird.
freaky.
It was very weird. But once I got out of there, I felt like that was sort of a restart button for me. I think that I did need that medication at that time just to smooth that over and like work my way towards what I needed
Yeah.
next.
Well, on top of everything that was going on, you were also probably struggling with some PTSD from what had happened with us and me, throw, me basically blindsiding you with a Mack truck and then all this and that and us doing all this and like you literally were going through like traumatic things, and you were traumatized by it.
Yeah,
It was PTSD for sure. That can happen from any kind of situation.
that's very true.
Yeah, if it affects you real enough.
Yeah. And um we wanted to make things better for me
Yeah.
mentally,
Through
but for us because of that too, you know.
Yeah, through all of this shit that has happened, like the one constant that has stayed true is our love for each other and how deep and true it was through everything that was happening, through how far apart we felt under the same house, through, how we didn't know what was going on with each other and our lack of communication. We were always just like, I could look into your eyes and just know. We just knew that it was real, and that there wasn't it was going to take a lot more than any of that to actually, make us done for good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, call that.
Yeah. I was like, we've gone too far. I'm just playing.
And at this point, it's 2015. We've
Right.
been married for 3 years,
Yeah,
three
this
and a
is
half years.
end of July 2015. Um, so we were like, all right, blank slate, let's
Mhm.
make this thing better. So I quit my job. I found a new job that started out as just part-time. It eventually turned into full-time, but started a new job and was on medication that was working pretty well for me at the time.
Still
And
like several medications, probably 2 or 3.
for sure. And I felt like for a long time after North Harbor, I felt a lot better.
Mhm. Yeah, because you literally did get a reset. You got 72 hours to just completely reset your mind,
For sure.
and kind of work some stuff out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
But there's still some underlying trust issues and some,
oh, for sure.
insecurities with us.
Self-esteem, lack of confidence. I've always had major self-esteem issues, and you have as well. And
For
so
sure.
together we
Yeah.
are just
Dynamic
grenade.
duo. Well, plus the financial strain of us not being good with money still, still trying to work our ways up the ladders at our, respective jobs. At the time, I was still in charge of, catering and events for that restaurant. So I wasn't ahead of everything yet, So I had like my little section that I was obsessed with, trying to make as much money as possible. Just sell, 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 sell.
Yeah.
You know, just because. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. Quit your job, get a part-time job. We'll handle it.
Yeah.
Whatever it throws at us, we're just gonna handle it.
And it
However
worked out
hard it is.
well.
Yeah.
It worked out well because I
Yeah.
wasn't having to work nights at all anymore.
That
It was just
sucked.
like a day job.
Yeah.
Um,
You're off every weekend.
hmm And I felt like that was really good for us during that time too. It helped us to sort of get a better routine and um yeah, I mean things were pretty good, I mean, I think you were scared to upset me for a while.
Horrified.
And so I think you sort of felt like you had to walk on eggshells for a bit, but overall, I mean, we were doing better
Definitely.
in the months after that happening than we
I
had
I
been.
made myself completely open and available. Like every aspect of my life. Like I was like, I'm laid out here. I am yours. I am committed and I'm dedicated. And you can look me up and down. You can throw a tracker on everything I've got. You can look at me up and down. I am so wholly committed to you and to your mental health and to this family and to making this work. No idea what that means, but I'm just gonna work. I'm gonna work hard. I'm gonna come home. I'm gonna try to do what's right.
And
Uh,
you did.
try. I was still immature. We still messed up a lot. Got mad about stupid stuff. Some of the things we fought about over the years. If I look back at it, it's so embarrassing. Like I let that turn into a 24-hour argument, like it's just spiraling out of control. And so much of that for us it was just reactionary.
Hmm
Like once you hit a point to where you're not just like firing back just for the sake of firing back at somebody, like it changes a lot about the way you interact with somebody. We were so immature
That's so
and just
true.
like man,
Just petty,
so petty,
so petty and just like, I don't know.
just fiery.
It was just stupid
Yeah,
looking back on it. But I mean, I feel like we really did well for a while
yeah. Oh, for
and
sure.
then until we didn't. And I feel like the medication I was taking had made me gain some weight. I was feeling super bad about myself.
Made you really self-conscious.
And so I was like, I'm doing so good. I'm just going to stop taking it. And that's what I did.
Again.
Big mistake. Because about a week after that, I felt as shit as I had months ago. Not quite as bad, but I was like, whoa, 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 this is bad. Gotta nip this in the bud. And it was just the cycle started again.
Yep.
I started going back to the doctor. He started
Yep.
trying more medicine, and it was just round and around we go.
Mm-hmm.
I hate that for mental health care in anywhere, especially our country. I feel like has a long way to go. But
Well, we just kind of, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, but I just know that we needed to talk to people and just care about people more.
yeah,
But for us, we went through that cycle for a while
Mhm.
of, we do good. We change our medicine, we go down, we do good. And I know that sounds like I'm blaming you and your medicine for our progress, but it was the way that we handled everything in
right,
our life. It was the
yeah,
way that I reacted to you, the way that I reacted to how you reacted to the medicine, the
Mhm.
way we reacted to the stress of being parents to this young, rambunctious little 3-year-old.
yeah.
And then you're like, well, I kind of want another baby. I think we should have another baby.
Well, yeah, I mean, so that was late 2016. I had started to feel like a little bit of baby fever, and I was like, I always wanted my kids to be around mine and my brother's age distance apart, which is around 3.5, 4-ish years. And Sawyer had just turned uh 3. Yeah, he had just turned 3. So I had started bringing it up, and I mean, you were still sort of in the headspace like, we need to make sure that you're straight,
What happened last time?
that we're straight. Like, that's a huge step. And I just kept sort of mentioning it, and I don't know, I felt in my heart like that's what maybe would help my feelings and help to keep me from spiraling into a bad place, which was also an immature thought. But I don't know. I just had baby fever, and
Yeah.
I started wanting
Well,
another Enzer.
and I started seeing how bright you would get when you would talk about it, and you would start like sending me baby names or like, articles you would find about, children who are raised close in age, and all this stuff. And finally I was thinking about it and I was like, it probably would be pretty awesome, and I think we're doing really good. I think we're in a good spot. She really likes this new job she's got. She's doing well, she's making moves there and already making more money than when she started. And I just think it's time. And I think I'm gonna let her know.
Yeah. And it was Christmas time 2016.
Football season.
But was it? I thought it
Because we
was
were on
Thanksgiving.
I remember it was towards the end of football season because we were on the way to watch Alabama play Ole Miss
That's
with some
right.
friends of ours.
At a friend's house.
Yeah, and it was on the way to that person's house where I turned to you and I said, I think you're right. I think it's time that we have another little one.
hmm
And you flipped.
I was like, really? I was so excited. And man, we got right to work,
Hell yeah.
be a couple of fertile humans, I guess.
Like 2 weeks later, you were
yeah,
pregnant.
yeah, literally, like, I started taking, when I thought I conceived, I started taking pregnancy tests like a couple weeks after that. And
Well, it might have been longer than that because I think you stopped taking a medicine because you couldn't be on medication while you're pregnant or one of them. So you were like, okay, now we're gonna try. I gotta wean myself off of this.
yeah,
Something like that. I think that's why you were thinking Christmas time because we had that little buffer time to get you off the medicine before we could start trying.
yeah, that's true. Because it was like the February the 1st or 2nd when that had been about 2 weeks, and I could have sworn I saw a faint line, and I took it to work, and everybody was like, "Oh, girl, yeah, girl,
You sent
that's."
it to me and I said, nope, that
You
ain't
were
a
like,
line.
"Line where?" Don't see no line. I was like, I'm telling you, I did the whole filter where you like do the contrast or whatever, and I was like,
You were so
I can
mad that I
feel
didn't
it.
think there was a line there. You were so mad at me.
Yeah, I was like, I can feel it.
You said, there's a baby in here right now.
Yes, I've been implanted.
It's latched.
I'm with the seed. Still, the test little line got darker and darker.
Mm-hmm. By the time I got home
And
from work, it was pretty bold.
yeah, and then it was around the second or third week of February, we announced that we had another
Bum,
Ender
bum, bum,
baby
bum,
coming.
bum. That's little Shep.
Oh, Shepherd.
That's our criminal. That's who we referenced in episode 1.
Oh, Shepherd. He is something else. I can't wait for them to do
I cannot wait for their show.
a
Oh
little
my
sit
gosh.
down.
It's going to be awesome. Y'all
Did we
get
mention
ready.
it last episode?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ship to shore with Saw and Shep. It's just gonna be like a little 10-minute thing, but it's gonna be so
I can't
cute.
wait. Man.
But I was pregnant. I was super stoked. Everything was awesome, and stayed that way up until I was
didn't.
probably, I don't know. I guess I was a couple months in, and I mean, I was dog sick both my
Yeah.
pregnancies. I didn't throw
you
up
had it
as
so
much with
rough,
Shepherd,
though.
but
the nausea was still there, constant. You were constantly like, oh, I'm going to throw up. I think I'm going to throw up. Oh, I might throw up, just all the time.
well, and with Shepherd, I started like every time I would take a step, it felt like my pelvis would pop in and out of place.
Yeah.
And so I started like wobbling, like waddling, walking. And you couldn't even tell I was pregnant. Everybody's like, why is she walking like that? And I'm like, I'm 8 weeks. My body's just shit. I'm sorry. And then I don't know, I felt like something was just not right. It was just different.
Yeah.
I felt like crap. I immediately gained like 1,000,000 pounds and swelled up like a
Well, that's because I was
blueberry.
like, yeah, she's pregnant again. I'm buying all the snacks. What do you want? What do you want? What do you want? What kind of ice cream do you want?
Gosh,
Oh,
I
I
got
love
so
it, dude.
big.
It's awesome, man. You can eat anything when they're pregnant.
That is true.
They're up for anything.
Literally anytime,
Yeah.
anything.
Except Red Lobster.
Gross.
I didn't eat Red Lobster for like 5 years.
Mm.
Yeah.
That was when I was pregnant with Sawyer. That was so terrible. Smells were awful. Ugh.
But it's so good.
Yeah, till you puke it. But I went to the 20-week anatomy scan, and the doctor came in, and we used a different doctor with Shepherd's pregnancy because I did not want to deliver at DCH because we had such a scary situation.
Just not the best experience.
Wonderful nurses, wonderful care given by the nurses and stuff that took care of me, but just the overall experience of the stay was not awesome. But the doctor came in and she was like, okay, so I've got some bad news. And I mean, as doctors, I guess they just have to give you the absolute worst case scenario. And my mom was with me.
Also,
Yes.
worst case scenario if you're getting bad news.
I know, because me and my mom, I mean, we tend to get extremely upset and emotional and maybe a little overreacty about things. So the two of us hearing the news I'm about to receive was probably not the best. But the doctor was like, you have something called complete previa, where your placenta is completely covering your cervix, and that creates huge complications for you. You're going to have to start seeing the maternal fetal medicine doctor that's high risk at this other place, and you're going to have to go and have like regular ultrasounds. And if it doesn't move, which it probably won't, there's a greater chance that your uterus will grow into the placenta, and it will also grow into your bladder, so that when we do this C-section, you could die. Or she was like,
That's how she said it to me. So imagine how I felt.
She was like, there's possibility of death for you and your baby.
God.
And then she just let that simmer.
Yeah, just let it sit in
Let
the air
that
for a minute.
marinate. And I'm just like, I'm looking at my mom who's, sobbing at this point, and then I start to cry. And I'm like, I mean, gosh, this is terrible. I'm thinking now, looking back on it, I see that complete previa and placenta previa is a lot more common than I was led to believe, and that it is very likely that they move, and luckily mine did.
Yeah.
But
it did make it really uncomfortable for a long time for you.
Super
It was really
uncomfortable.
painful pregnancy.
Yeah, it was super painful. I was physically just felt handicapped the whole time, and ended up having to like do my maternity leave for work early.
Yeah.
I sat down with my boss
Thankfully, they
and
let you do that.
got that approved, and I was so thankful for that.
He was always really good to you with stuff when you needed anything to do with our children or your
Mhm.
pregnancy. They were always like, whatever you need, you got it. Take the
Right.
time.
Absolutely.
cool.
And he was and I just went to him and I was like, look, if it's not okay, if it means my job won't be secure, like I'll figure it out. But if there's any way, and he was like, go for it.
We would have figured it out.
Well, I had already gotten to a point where they had they had written me out a note from the doctor saying that I didn't need to be on my feet for longer than like this amount of time. And so, I was already pretty much like couldn't do my job properly, and other people were having to pick up my slack, and so it was just worthwhile. And then we scheduled that C-section for October 25th, and
I think we'll cut the story there this time. I think we're running short on time, but I think that's a good spot to end our story for this episode. How wrong were we about? We started this. We were like, yeah. What we'll do is we'll just do an intro episode, then we'll spend 2 episodes telling our whole story, and then we'll just move on and we have some fun with it after that. And we are on like the 4th episode of our story, and I'm glad for it. I'm glad that we're diving into it and that we're able to kind of go in between stories and talk about stuff. But I'm having a lot of fun doing this, and I hope we're connecting with you guys and you're kind of feeling how real we are with this and how much we're really just trying to spread positivity, and we just want you to let you know what we've been through, and that we know that things are tough, it gets hard, but there's always some light on the other side, no matter what, right?
That's right.
Absolutely.
And doing this with you, I feel like it's really important that people know the why and the how and where we've come from.
Yes.
Compared to now, like it's been, I don't know, it's just been amazing.
Yeah.
And
if you see us out and about right now, you'll probably see what we're talking about, just because we're just so happy. Things are awesome.
So really quickly, don't forget tomorrow is our Earth Day event. So we are inviting everyone from wherever you are tomorrow to pick up trash around your driveway, around your home. Let's try to clean up our world a little bit.
Take it and go dump it at the Foster's America's Thrift Store dump site and just trash it, okay? Just kidding.
Don't do that.
Oh,
but
it's finally clean. Yeah.
If you guys do participate, make sure to tag us in your posts and take pictures of what all you've picked up, and maybe we can create some sort of collaborative reel or something. TikTok.
I think that should be part of the contest. You have to also participate in the Earth Day pickup.
Interesting. We'll see. Okay. We'll see, because we're still pretty new. So we'll see. Because I want everybody to be able to participate.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Okay, and then
shouldn't make them chores.
Let's see.
Do you want to send them off with a would you rather?
Yeah.
Last thing?
Yeah.
Let them answer it? Okay.
Okay, so we're looking for feedback, you guys. Our family loves would you rather, and me and Corey love just talking about these in the car. So we have a couple of them. At the beginning of the next episode, we'll tell you what we think.
Yeah.
In the meantime, DM us, email us, and let us know which you would choose and why. It can be video, audio, type it out, whatever. So the first one is, would you rather have to listen to the same 10 songs only the rest of your life, or only watch the same 5 movies for the rest of your life?
That's a really good one. And
the second one is, would you rather be physically stronger than most people or be able to fly?
Just stronger than most people.
Yeah. Physically stronger than most people. Like I would say the majority of people, which means over 60%.
Okay. I need like a week to think about this. I'll get back with you.
We're going to let you guys know. But thank you again.
Thanks so much for listening.
Hang in there. We're so excited to continue doing this. And thank you for just supporting us, tuning in, and we'll see you next week.
Appreciate it. Like, subscribe, rate us.
Follow, like, subscribe, rate. Next week, episode 6. Yeah.